Hello everyone, I am Veena Gandhi, Assistant Professor from Department of BCA Science. Welcomes you again in Advanced C Programming course. In this video, you will learn command line arguments in C. The topics covered in this video are what do you mean by command line arguments or parameters, then how to pass the command line arguments, properties of command line arguments, advantages of command line arguments or parameters, and C programs on these command line arguments in assignment. What do you mean by command line arguments? Consider an application where GUI interface is not available and we execute that application from the DOS prompt or from the disk operating system from the command prompt. We pass the commands to the application from the command prompt. In that case, we can use the word command line arguments. Means when we want to control the program from outside instead of hard coding the input values inside the code, and where GUI interface is not available, in that case we can use the command line arguments. The command line arguments are the parameters or argument passed to main function during the runtime from the command line or from the command prompt. Now how to pass these command line arguments in a C program? To pass the command line arguments, we define the main function with two arguments, where the first argument is the number of arguments or number of parameters on command line, and second argument is the list of command line parameters or argument names. Syntax: in main function, to pass the first parameter int argc. Argc is the count of number of parameters, and second is a char star argv, array of pointers. Argv is what? Array of pointers. Or you can say int main in bracket int argc, then char double pointer argv, array of argv. Here argc is argument count, which is type integer and stores the number of command line arguments passed by the user, including the name of the program. Suppose if we pass a 10 value to particular program, the value of argc will be 2, one for argument 10 and one for the program name. So the value of argc should be non-negative, it is positive. Next is argv, argument vector. It's the array of character pointers which stores all the arguments. Now each element in this array point to command line argument, and these all command line arguments are of string type. If argc is greater than 0, means the array elements from argv0 to argv of argc minus 1 will contain pointer to strings. Argv0 is always the name of the program, and after that till argv of argc minus 1, every element is a command line argument. Let us see properties of command line arguments. Now, command line arguments are used to control the program from outside instead of hard coding the value inside the code. Now, these command line arguments are passed to main function at runtime on command prompt. Argv of argc is a null pointer. Argv0 holds the name of the program. Argv1 points to first command line argument and argv of argc minus points to last argument. Let us see simple example of command line argument. Now first include the header file stdio.h. Now in main function we pass the two arguments. Till now we are not send any argument to main function, but in command line arguments we pass the arguments to main function or parameter to main function. Now first is int argc, it's argument count, and then char star argv. Argv is an array of character pointers. Now you can change this name argc or argv, but in normally these are the arguments argument name you will find in any book. So you can change this argc and argv. You can give any name, but it should be integer type and should be character array pointer. Now next you define the n variable of type int. Now I want to print what are the parameters passed on the command line. I want to display that parameters. So printf following are the arguments entered in command line. So for n equal to 0, n less than argc, n plus plus. Then printf \n percentage argv of n. So we want to print each argument on command command prompt. Then after that printf number of arguments entered are %d argc and return 0. Now suppose if I compile this program on Linux environment using ECC compiler, gcc program1.c, and on while running the here .a.out is the exe file here, and then we can pass the parameter 1, 2, 3. So it will display a.out 1, 2, 3 on a command prompt on the command prompt, and then display number of arguments entered are 4. Now we will run this program on TurboC compiler. In TurboC compiler, there is an option under the run to pass the arguments here. So we can pass the argument 1, 2, 3, and then OK, and then compile the program, then run the program. So you can see here output. Following are the arguments entered in the command line. It shows the sequel TurboC source prg1.exe. This program name is argv0, and 1, 2, 3. Display all the parameters on the command prompt, and number of arguments entered are 4. Program name and plus 3 parameters. So it should display the 4 arguments here. Let us see some more programs on command line argument. Suppose if we want to pass parameters on command line like numbers, and we want to display sum of all the numbers. So for that, first include the file stdio.h file, and in that, after that include the file stdlib.h file, then cornu.h file. Now in main function again pass the two parameter int argc and argv array of pointers, character array of pointers. So here sum equal to 0, int sum equal to 0, and I variable here. Now call the clear screen function to clear the screen. Then if argc is less than equal to 1, then print the message appropriate number of arguments are not supplied to calculate the sum. Then exit 0. Now exit 0 function is defined in stdlib.h file. Else you can read all the arguments and add it to sum. So for I equal to 1, argv of 0 is always program name. So we start from the 1 here. I equal to 1, I less than argc, I plus plus. Argc will give number of parameters on the command line. A sum equal to sum plus a toy of argv of 1. The command line arguments are string. We want to convert it into integer value. So 10, 20, 30 are, if we pass the parameter 10, 20, 30, these are string values. Now we want to convert it into integer value. So use the function atoy function, which is defined in a stdlib.h file, which converts the string into int value. So atoy of argv of r. Then after the for loop, complete the else loop here and print the sum of all command line arguments is %d, then sum. Now let us run this program. Now pass the argument 10, 20, 30. Suppose 40. Okay, and then run now. So you can see sum of the all command line argument is 100. This way we can pass the parameter at runtime. So there is no need to use scanf function for reading the numbers from the user. You can pass directly these parameters on a command line. Advantages of command line arguments. Arguments can be supplied during the runtime or execution time. Therefore, program can accept different arguments at different times. There is no need to change the source code to work with different inputs to the program. There is no need to recompile the program since source code is not changed. Let's see assignment. Short questions. What do you mean by command line arguments? What does the argc and argv parameters denote? Then long question. Explain the how to pass command line arguments. Then what are the advantages of command line arguments? I hope you will understand the concept of command line arguments. Thank you for watching.